Well, hello, everybody. It's Fiona Lewis here from Super Savvy Business. And today we have a very special guest. His name is Warren Black. And Warren has come to talk to us about the new privacy laws that are about to hit Australia and how they affect us as website owners and business owners. Now, to give you a bit of a background about Warren, he worked for the Australian Tax Office for about 10 years, including time in the tax audit division, and he was an auditor. But then he was drawn to the other side and now works hard to not only build your wealth, but help you pay less money to the taxman to give you more in your pocket and keep the gold digging scumbags away from your hard earned assets. A specialist tax and commercial lawyer and accountant of 15 years, as well as his 10 years in the Australian Tax Office, and as a specialist when it comes to Australian and foreign investing, it's the proactive pushing of boundaries while keeping a legal approach that his clients really appreciate. Warren has exceptional skills in the areas of tax planning, asset protection, commercial law, and international tax. So you can see why he is the perfect person to bring on to our Super Savvy Business podcast to talk about this very important topic of privacy. So first of all, welcome to our call, Warren.
Thank you, Fiona. Nice to be here.
Look, I have to say thank you to you, especially because, as you know, I've been looking around to find the perfect person to talk to on this important issue. There's been a lot of buzz in the internet world about the privacy laws and how they might affect us as business owners, but specifically how it relates to us in the online world. And so I was very grateful to have been referred to you. And when we had our initial conversation, I knew that you were the perfect person to give us the lowdown on everything.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I don't know. I mean, perfect's a very generous comment, Fiona, but yes, I certainly, I've had a bit to do with this kind of stuff. And one of my other little hobbies that wasn't mentioned in the biography is I'm very passionate about law reform and changing things and finding creative ways to deal with laws. So it's one of the reasons I'm very passionate about this kind of stuff, especially privacy and how to deal with this and not be caught up in the insanity of our regulation.
Yeah, look, I have to admit, I had a quick look at the privacy laws and tried to read the explanations about what they meant and how it applied to us as business owners. And I felt like my head was going round in circles. I was so confused by the end of it, and I still couldn't work out how it applied to me and whether it applied to me and what part of my business it applied to. So having you on this call today is going to be great because we can sort of dissect the main parts of it that people need to be aware of. So I guess, who does this really apply to in these new privacy laws? Who needs to really be paying attention?
Well, basically, Fiona, it applies to small businesses and medium businesses. It's pretty much applicable to most businesses. Now, in saying that, there are some exceptions. The general rule is if you've got over $3 million turnover, you're always going to be caught by it. And if you've got less than $3 million turnover, it's only going to apply to you in certain situations. Now, unfortunately, for many online businesses, and again, being new law, it's never easy to actually work out. Yes, if it makes you feel any better, it took me about 2 or 3 hours of actually studying it myself to actually get clear of myself. And at the end of it, I still wasn't 100% clear on a few things. There were some grey areas, but very simply, it specifically states that if you don't have a turnover of over 3 million, so less than 3 million, you'll be covered if you have related entities that are located overseas with that kind of turnover. If you're related to basically companies that are making that kind of over the $3 million turnover, or, and this is the big one, it makes money or gains other benefit from disclosing personal information. So, for example, if you sell or trade your database of personal information with other businesses. So I think for many online businesses who do joint ventures and things like that, they're going to be caught by that. So although in theory, anyone under 3 million is going to be okay, that's a very broad exception, which I think is going to catch a lot of online businesses because many businesses do joint ventures, they trade lists, they market to each other's lists, and from the way I'm reading it, I think it seems to be caught by these new laws.
Look, that is a really big one to bring up because, within our community, we do talk very much about building our list through having these joint venture partnerships. But you also mentioned something there I just wanted to clarify is having affiliations with people overseas. What was that all about?
Well, it just basically says it has related entities that are located overseas, and what that seems to be referring to is, let's just say you got a company that's less than $3 million, but then you have another related company where you've got shares or ownership in that, which is which brings you over the $3 million mark. It's designed to catch and bring in those ones there.
Right.
And just as an aside about the importance of this, the ACCC have just announced about a month ago, they've declared war on what they call the upselling model. So in other words, if online in a business you offer a certain price and then when people go on and sign up, then get upsold or something else, unless there's a lot of disclosure, they're targeting that as kind of bait advertising. So this whole thing of online business, joint ventures, upselling seems to be in the spotlight, and it's been the way that most online companies make money, and I think that we're in a brave new world pretty much starting from March.
So, do you want fries with that? That whole upselling model, are you saying that that is something that they're targeting?
Well, that's what the ACCC seem to be alluding to, yes.
Wow.
And the ACCC, yes, it's insane. It's like, wow. I mean, I read it and I just shake my head and think, I thought regulation had gone insane enough in this country, and it's just gone worse.
Wow. Look, I'm actually blown away by that. I mean, to me, from a marketing point of view, and offline businesses do that. We go down to the local McDonald's, they'll ask you if you want fries with your burger. So I'm surprised that as online
Absolutely.
business owners, we're being targeted to offer, related products when someone's checking out.
Oh, exactly right. They're talking about, there's actually only 4 days ago, there was a article that came out where the ACCC actually made an announcement that they're going to, the exact words in the press release was the Consumer Watchdog says it plans to crack down on the covert additional fees charged by online retailers and booking sites. So the practice of adding fees and charges to online purchase above the um, asking price, which includes shipping, handling costs, and other things late in the transaction process. Now, they seem to be distinguishing between upselling, which are essential to the product on offer, so that seems to be okay. But again, what I hate about these things is they leave it grey and open. So if
Mm,
they don't like you, they can kind of target you and give you a hard time. But they do say that upselling that's essential is okay. But in saying that, it certainly shows that there's more scrutiny than ever before, and companies have got to get it right. I mean, that's just unfortunately, it's the way it is. I regard it as similar to what's happened with the financial services laws when it came out in 2004. I mean, anyone could just about advise people in their super, and now if you've got a financial planning company, I mean, most companies I know have to literally have a full-time or, highly paid compliance officer that purely focuses on making sure that they're in compliance. And I think that's coming. In fact, some lawyers on this area are actually saying that most businesses now are going to probably have to have an expert privacy or other lawyer who regularly checks their stuff. And that's what they reckon the result of this is going to be.
wow. Okay. So let's just pick out some of the main things. I mean, obviously, there's we could talk for an hour, 2 hours, like you say. It took you several hours to go
Easily.
through it. So, if we could just maybe pick out some of the main things that apply in the online space that we need to be aware of.
Yep, sure. Look, there's a few ones. I think one of the ones that I think is going to concern a lot of people in getting right is the outsourcing to third parties, because one of the big things that's happened, and I do it myself, is outsourcing overseas. So, with all the wonderful regulations now around employees and employing someone in Australia, you'll be paying very high wages now on top of that superannuation, workers' compensation, insurance, leave, all that. One of the ways companies have gone is outsourcing to Philippines you know, and Eastern European countries and India. So that's cut costs considerably. On top of that, it cuts compliance with work cover, super, and all that kind of stuff. Now, one of the things of these companies, of course, is they don't necessarily have the same attention to detail with privacy and things as cloud and other providers in Australia. What the new principles are now saying is that if you're a business and you outsource to a company um, overseas and give them clients private information, that if they breach the information and do bad things of it, you're going to be held liable. You'll be deemed liable for what's happening. So the only way you can avoid being deemed liable is if you get the explicit consent of your client to actually provide your information to outsourced offshore people, which a lot of people don't like that anyway, and you'd have to kind of cover that in your privacy agreement. And even then, the second thing is that if there are certain things like hackers and things like that, provided you meet certain standards and you've gone ahead and shown that you've met reasonable standards of data care and integrity of your data, but you'll be exempted. But just as a comment on that one, it's just in line with what I call the whole guilty until proven innocent, which is
Right.
culture which has come into Australian business now, where you're kind of deemed guilty, and the ACCC case and Lux and the ACCC and White Card federal court cases show that clearly, where companies were pretty much